What are these brands hiding, and is it worth a cover-up? Today we're gonna find that out. Yeah, no, if you're as curious as we are as to what type of fudging is going on with these companies, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you are not yet a member of the Takedown tribe. But it's time for us to start taking down some snack companies, and we're starting off with one that's trying to get on our sweet side. Will it work? Ritz Crackers have decided to cover up their cracker with fudge. Will it be any good? We haven't tried them, so let's find out. Okay, so I think we should get acquainted with the original and then try the cover-up. Perfect, okay. So here's the original. Your classic Ritz cracker. And then here's the cover. All right, original. Classic Ritz cracker. Nice and buttery, nice and crisp, a little bit of salt, no complaints. I'm always impressed eating an original Ritz cracker again because usually you have it with cheese or something else, but they are fantastic on their own. Yeah, they're absolutely amazing. You're right though, I always am pretty surprised at the fact that it doesn't need anything. You usually just do add things to it. Yeah. Anyways, again, with the cover up, I'll show you it whole. That's whole, then inside. I'm about that. Very good. Let's eat a few more, and we'll go over it. Okay. Like I said, I loved them. I was expecting it to be a little bit more salty, but the fudge definitely covers up the salt a bit, and so it's definitely a sweeter product with a really buttery and kind of crisp center, but it is not as contrasting of like a sweet and salty snack as I thought it would be. Yeah, I actually think that they could have increased the salt ratio a little bit, like bump it up so that it feels a little bit more salty sweet, and you do lose the buttery nature of the Ritz cracker a little bit until like the very tail end. If you're eating a couple at a time, like it builds, and you definitely pick up on it a little bit more. Was it worth covering? I think so. I think so too. I just think that they could have done a little bit better, like in that scenario where they increased the salt. I think if they tweaked the recipe just a hair, yeah, I definitely think it's worth covering. But again, if you're gonna be like pairing it with something like savory, then you gotta go with the original. But for me personally, you don't have to add anything to that. It's delicious as it is. I'm going with the cover-up. It is a very fun snack that's already, again, if you don't like eating Ritz on their own, get the covered one if you want just like a straight up snack ready to go as is. Cool, let's move on. Next up, this one's gonna be a little bit nostalgic, so we'll see if they live up to our memories. We ate a lot of Quaker Chewy bars as kids, and we have very fond memories of them, but they did not make the dipped when we were kids. So now they've covered up their chocolate chip Chewy bars. Time to see if it can live up, if it makes it any better. Yeah, very interesting. We've got the chocolate chip ones. My favorite flavor as a kid was s'mores, but they didn't have any of the dipped s'mores in stock where we went, so here, chocolate chip it is. Okay, again, starting with the original. Classic chocolate chip Chewy bar. Just like I remember it to be. And it's great. You can't go wrong. I love them. You got the crispy, you got the chewy, and then you got the melty from the chocolate that comes in. Excellent. If you didn't grow up with Quaker bars, they're essentially like an oat Rice Crisp bar, and those ones have chocolate chips in them. They're sweet, they're delicious. I absolutely love them. Does it need the addition of fudge? Let's find that out. So here, I'm gonna show you the inside. Okay. It's not much different. I mean, it's pretty good. Let's eat a little bit more of it. We'll get our opinions. I'm changing my mind. I like it. I would go with the dipped. Okay. I was curious as what you were gonna say, because I have a few opinions about it. Okay, let me know. I think it's delicious. They've essentially taken their original Quaker bar and made it into more of a candy bar experience. Yes, my problem is one, I kind of would just rather just go get a candy bar. Whereas a Quaker bar, it's unique to itself. But then you're kind of losing some of that Rice Crisp quality And I feel like in the original, the chocolate chips are a nice amount of chocolate within the bar, whereas that becomes completely about the chocolate, I feel. Is it good? Yes, it's absolutely fantastic. Do I think it's necessary? I don't think so. Oh man, for me, cover it up. I love it. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a whatchamacallit. Like I heard like the Hershey's whatchamacallit type of thing, where I'm definitely picking up on the Rice Crisps and stuff. It's just a little bit chewier. I personally am going for the dips. But in that scenario, I would rather just have the Who's What's It and the whatchamacallit, I think, are like those types of bars that resembles. Whereas if I want a chewy bar, I'm probably going with that. But we will have to make up our minds later to determine, was it worth the cover up? Was it not? You know, we'll have to find some neutral ground so that we can give the people another official rating. Okay, sounds good. Next up. All right. Next up, we have Keebler. They took their fudge stripes. It already has fudge, and they decided that it needed more by going with the whoopsie fully fudged fudge stripes. So they're essentially just adding much more fudge to an already fudged product. They're pretending like it was a mistake. They went all whoopsie on us, but they knew what they were doing. They covered the whole fudge stripes in fudge. Is it worth it? Let's find out. Okay, so here's your original fudge stripe. So the back of it is fully covered in fudge, and then it's just stripes on the top. Always good. They know how to do a shortbread cookie very well. Could eat those all day. It's gotta be their top seller. I mean, it's fantastic. The Keebler Fudge Stripes is the cookie that sold me on shortbread. Because I was in between on shortbread for a long time, but it's so good. Yeah, okay, so let's see if it needs any more fudge. Here's whole. And I'll show you the inside. You can see how much fudge is on this thing. I like that. I feel this way about this so far as you felt about the Quaker. I don't think it needs any more. Let's have a few more. Okay. This is a tough one. Yeah, there is a consistency difference or a shift that happens with it being fully coated in fudge that I really enjoy. But at the end of the day, I agree with what you said at the beginning, where it's not necessary. No, you're still getting enough fudge with the original one. Yeah, it's just a slight shift in the ratios because you're getting the crumbly cookie with the creamy fudge. And when it comes to that, it's perfectly balanced. That you're just getting a little bit more of it. So do I think that it's necessary? No. It is great though. I think I would. I don't know. It's fantastic. Was it worth the cover up? I personally don't think so. No, I don't think it's necessary. But like, if only one had to exist, just stick with the original. Because actually, going back to the Quakers, I do think it was worth the cover up. It was they're very good. It's just that I would probably choose the original or something else, but I would probably give them the point for that. Keebler, I think I'm gonna say, wasn't unnecessary. All right, there you go. Next up, what do we got? Another polar opposite one, kind of like the Ritz. Snyder's of Hanover. We love pretzels. Yes, we do. We are kind of pretzel connoisseurs to a degree. Yeah, covered pretzels at least. Yes, I mean, well, even regular pretzels at this point. Yeah. We've tried them all. We went through a very big savory pretzel kick a little while ago, and we have pretty much made it our life mission to try every covered pretzel on the planet, which, by the way, Utz birthday cake covered daisies are the #1 covered pretzel on the planet. The best one we found yet. Yes, for sure. So that's my personal favorite, but Snyder's of Hanover. Never had just a straight up pretzel next to their fudge covered ones. Let's see if it's worth it. Cool. I don't know if there's the same amount here. I think it's similar. It doesn't matter. Okay. So starting off with just your standard salted Snyder's mini pretzel. Tastes like a pretzel. It's a good snack. It's a standard pretzel. There's nothing fancy about it. I think where Snyder's shines is with their twists and with their buffalo wing
sourdough nuggets.
Oh yeah, those things are good.
So good. They do not skimp on seasoning with those items. They're so good. Those, just a standard pretzel, kind of taste the same as most pretzels.
Yeah, you typically want to get something for them, like either like whipped cream cheese or a hummus or something like that to pair it with. That's how I would like to enjoy them. But let's see if it's worth the cover up. Okay.
I said that these were fudge dipped. That's just straight milk chocolate, and you can tell.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think I already know my opinion. We'll eat the rest, and then we'll give our thoughts on it. It's worth covering up. It absolutely transforms this, because this is an otherwise like very dry product. It's crunchy but it's dry. That, you're making it a crispy and creamy and a sweet and a salty. Like, it's just hitting so many different things. That does it for me all day. I would get those any day over these.
Yeah, unlike the Ritz don't need anything to go with them. It does need something else to excite it, in my opinion. But now that we actually did this, I'm actually surprised that we brought this to the table, because we're like, oh, one's not covered, one's covered. But we love chocolate covered pretzels. I would have been very surprised if we didn't think it was worth the cover up. But as a positive note, like for something worth saying, Snyder's did a really good job with the quality of that fudge, because we've definitely had some subpar quality chocolate covered pretzels or fudge covered pretzels.
Sometimes they can be very waxy.
Yeah, and sometimes the salt doesn't come through enough. So there are, that can be a big determining factor. Snyder's does it right, worth the cover up.
Nice and crisp, a lot of creamy, a nice amount of salt. They did it right. Okay, next up, Nutter Butter, a classic cover up. You got your fudge covered Nutter Butter, and you've got your traditional covered Nutter Butter. Now we're traditional Nutter Butter, not covered.
We've had them both, but we've never had them side by side. So let's see if we do favor one over the other.
Let's do it.
Let's just eat this whole pack.
Okay.
And there's a half. You can cut that for the camera.
Nice. All right. So your classic Nutter Butter. Peanut butter flavored cookie for those who are unfamiliar. And then here is your fudge cover. Looks like that hole. That inside. We don't have them often, but when we have them, I am always reminded of how much I love them.
Such a prevalent peanut butter flavor without chocolate. Because so often with snack products, you get chocolate and peanut butter. Just peanut butter.
I really like it. Absolutely love them. For the past 2 years, every single time we've had Nutter Butter, we have had the Double Nutty Nutter Butter, which is basically their double stuffed version. I almost wonder what those would be like side by side, because I don't feel like it needs any more filling. I feel like it's a really, really nice ratio of crispy to crunchy to creamy.
But then in last week's video, we had the Oreo Thin, the original Oreo, and the most stuff. And we enjoyed the original Oreo, but then you have it with more filling, and it does something different.
That's why I said it'd be interesting having them side by side, because like on its own, it's fantastic.
It is.
Okay, again, with the fudge covered one, I know I just showed it to you, but why not show it again? I'm gonna keep my opinion to myself right now and let you know right at the end.
Can I ask you one question first?
Yes.
Is that more filling?
Absolutely. I've got a very strong opinion. Do you have an opinion?
No, not formulated enough.
All right, my opinion, not worth the cover up. Because there is so much peanut butter and chocolate, so many peanut butter and chocolate products out there that are done so unbelievably well, but there's not really an amazing, just like peanut butter cookie with peanut butter filling being done well out there. And if I'm gonna go for one or the other, I think I'm just gonna go with the regular Nutter Butter for a couple of reasons. One, I just like just straight peanut butter nature of it, not combining it with chocolate. I think it's great. But also, if you do want to dunk it in milk or anything, if you are a person who likes dunking in milk, I don't traditionally do that, you can do it with that as well. Whereas like the fudge covered one, you dunk that in milk, what's it gonna do? Not really anything. Also, my last thought on it is the fact that the fudge covered one, it felt a little bit softer. That was much more crispy. I don't know what happened to the other ones, but it almost feels like they went a little bit soggy. That is all of my opinions.
I absolutely agree. I think one thing I was going to mention was the cookie itself did become softer in the process of them covering it, which I don't think is ideal. But they did use a similar filling ratio to their double nutty Nutter Butter,
which was nice.
Which is extremely nice. But you are right that there's so many chocolate peanut butter products out there that both hit a creamy and crunchy nature. So like a peanut butter wafer product, like a Little Debbie Nutty Buddy. Even a crunchy cookie Reese's product.
Like a Reese's stick?
Yeah.
Like a Reese's stick, you got the wafer, you got the peanut butter. I would get that over that.
Yep, even the peanut butter pie Oreos. Though that's like a chocolate and peanut butter product that's also a cookie. Do I think that the covered Nutter Butter is amazing?
Love it.
I think it's delicious. But I do think that I agree with you that I am in a Nutter Butter for the straight peanut butter flavor. And I think that if this was side by side to the double nutty, all day.
All right, not worth the cover up. Surprisingly, I did not see that one coming from a mile away.
Me either. Still delicious, still would buy them, but having them side by side, I think that's the right move.
All right.
Next up, a product that seems to be making its way into the channel quite often lately.
Every week.
We've got some Oreos. Now, Oreo always sells their, year-round, they have covered versions of their Oreos, but they do just release the white covered Oreos right now around the holidays. So we decided that we'd bring those to the game. See, is a double stuffed Oreo all you need, or should you be covering it up?
Let's find out.
I'm gonna give points to the covered one right off the bat because it is absolutely beautiful.
It's stunning. Okay, so here's your difference. Got the regular Oreo, and then your white fudge covered. All right.
Now we did not have the double stuffed Oreo in last week's video, so let's see how that is.
That's better than just the regular Oreo that we had last week.
In my opinion, that should be the original Oreo.
Yes, 100% agree with you.
You should have an Oreo thin, then it should be this one.
Yeah, I totally agree. You can't go wrong there.
I feel like it's the perfect Oreo if you are in it for either the cookie or the filling.
There's definitely a reason why that's the original. So again, here is the covered version. I think we got one.
I wasn't sure we were going to.
I'm crazy about it this way.
Oh. All right. Right from the start, worth the cover up.
It got a high five.
Yeah.
It had to win.
Yeah, there was no hiding that. Two things. One, the white fudge covered Oreo specifically. Not the other ones, the white fudge covered. I love that one so much. It competes with the most stuffed Oreo for my affection.
It might be the best original Oreo that there is. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and when we say original Oreo, we're talking chocolate and regular cream, so none of the fancy flavors that we all know and love. But that's how much I like that one.
Yeah, my opinion on it is that it is completely worth it. If you're someone who doesn't dunk your Oreos in milk like we don't, then I would go with those all day. They are absolutely spectacular. However, just to kind of help you with your own decision, if you're someone who wants to dunk your Oreos in milk, I wouldn't get those because then, like, hey, what's it gonna do? You're just gonna be dunking fudge and then it's not gonna actually absorb into the Oreo, which is probably the reason why most people like to dunk their Oreos in milk. But
yeah, we actually had a couple people comment on our Pop-Tart video where we compared them and we actually had the just the regular Oreos in that video, that some crazy people out there take the filling out altogether and give it to somebody else, discard it, whatever, and they just eat the Oreo cookie. In that scenario, if you are one of those crazy people, you want the original Oreo. You don't want it because this is completely coated.
Yeah.
For people like us, like you said, who don't dunk their cookies, or if you do like dunking your cookies, but you are in a scenario in which milk is out of the equation. I mean, like, you're at school, you're out for the day, and you don't have milk to dunk your Oreo. That does add an additional creamy factor.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. However, I would like to let everyone know that doesn't like the center of the Oreo. Nabisco does sell a chocolate wafer a chocolate wafer cookie that I saw at the store that doesn't have any filling in it.
I think it's like the Oreo thin cookie, because it seemed really thin.
Yeah, I wonder if it tastes like an Oreo. I haven't tried it yet, so I can't recommend it. But if you and I like the cream, so I'm just gonna get the Oreo anyways. But it might be something worth trying, seeing these are made by Nabisco and might be a very similar thing without the cream.
Yeah, but to sum that one up, Oreo, cover it all day, cover all the flavors if you can, please. That is amazing.
Oh man, if they covered the peanut butter pie one with white fudge, I'd never need another Oreo. I think before we wrap this thing up though, maybe we should settle this debate about the Quaker dipped versus undipped. Seeing we have such differing opinions, we might need to see if that's just not gonna change, or if we can settle the debate.
I like that idea. We're here, we may as well know, moving on, exactly where we stand.
Exactly. Okie dokie. I will show them both one last time, because that's what we do. So here's the original. And you've got your dipped version.
So we've already had them, let's just eat them both, make up our minds.
I don't need to say anything else. If you missed what I said earlier, go back. Everything remains true. I'm going with that one.
Okay. I'm struggling because I stand by the fact that I think that this is the Chewy Quaker bar.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't speak to the same thing to me. Like, there just seems to be a difference in my mind between the two that's struggling to connect. But if we have to come up with a solid, just a single decision, I'm going to go with the dip, and here's why. If not for flavor or the actual eating experience, both of my bars were in halves when I opened them, and they were kind of starting to fall apart while eating them.
This solves the problem.
Covering them in fudge does solve the problem of them not breaking apart, because it does have an oat base and a Rice crisp base. While I think there's enough chocolate in this to satisfy me, it's like a little less sweet, which I think is kind of nice about it. It feels a little bit more balanced. If anything, covering it in fudge did solve the crumbling problem that I did just realize exists within a Quaker Chewy bar.
Yeah.
So, I come to your side, Quaker, keep dipping.
Yeah, I mean, if I could only have one or the other for the rest of time and I was going to eat them pretty often, I would just get this one. It's just a personal preference. But that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a great time, and I'm very surprised by some of the results that we landed on. I never would, in my wildest dreams, would have imagined that we would have chosen the original Nutter Butter.
That's the most surprising one of the day.
Blown away. And even Ritz, I think that it's absolutely worth dipping that product. I think it's delicious, but I do think that there's things that they could be doing better, which I wasn't anticipating.
Yes.
So there was a lot of fun findings. Keebler covering their entire fudge stripes, but me personally thinking
it doesn't need it.
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
You're getting enough fudge and enough of shortbread cookie in the original product. So anyways,
it is fun. I guess there's only one situation in which I would get that whoopsies fully fudged one, and that was if I was to use it in a recipe. Like if I was like layering something, if I was making some kind of layered dessert, and I was using those cookies in it, because then the whatever you were layering it with wouldn't absorb into the cookie itself, and so it actually would kind of like protect the integrity of the cookie in a recipe. However, if I'm just eating a cookie, I am going with the original.
I'm trying to imagine this recipe that exists
like a layered dessert
in which you're using the Keebler fudge stripe as the layer.
If someone's making like a spin-off of, like banana cream pie, you use like Nilla wafers and stuff like that. Like people make layered desserts, like a trifle. If you're gonna use if you want like some kind of like crisp element to a trifle, I'd use that fully fudged fudge stripe.
I still stand by the fact that I'm finding it funny to imagine that the Keebler fudge stripe is the item that you're building this layered dessert.
I'm gonna have to build my own dream trifle trifle someday. Dream layered dessert.
Comment down below if you want Nate's Dream Trifle layered dessert as an item to be featured on this channel.
I will do it, and it will be awesome, and you will change your mind on having a Keebler fudge stripe inside of a layered dessert.
Anyways, with all that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are not yet subscribed. Comment down below if you want to see Nate's trifled layered dessert food video on the Takedown Twins food channel. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you again next week.